Got more plants today in my yoga landscape. Welcome. Thanks for being here this Monday morning for the Give Your Dog a Rest practice. So let's see if we can do a practice without down dog. Let's see if I can teach a practice without down dog. The reason is that I've had a lot of students with wrist injuries over the years, so you could always come back to reference this practice if you have a wrist injury in the future. But I fell off a little step ladder putting up lights this past weekend, and I caught myself on my hand, fortunately, but it's a little painful. So just gonna avoid that particular pose, and it just brings up to me some ideas that are hard for those of us who have a devoted asana practice. Is we value our practice, and we take pride in getting to our mats and like doing the things that we know so often make us feel good. But what about when it might be more appropriate to give something a rest, to let something heal, or let something be for a time. So it's important anytime we come to the asana practice, the postures, that we're sensitive to what might be appropriate on any given day, that our limitations are changing, and that we need self-love might not always be doing the thing. It might require not doing the thing sometimes. So anyway, without further ado, let's get to our mats for a dog-free practice. And we will start. How do we want to start today? I can't hear you. I wish I could hear you. We are going to start lying down today. So get a blanket if you have one, and we're going to unfold it, not all the way, partially, so that your blanket looks like this, and then roll the folded edge towards the fringe edge. And then take this blanket roll to the top third of your mat. And lie back. Situate the blanket roll at the bottom of your shoulder blades. And then lie back. Let the head rest down. And if the head doesn't touch down, you might fold up a second blanket or an article of clothing to place behind your head. So we're lying on our backs with the chest lifted by the blanket roll. So get yourself situated, supported here. Tuck your chin to your chest, lengthen the back of your neck before placing the head down on the mat or down on your prop. Arms out to the sides, palms turn up, fingers unfurl, reach out through the legs, lengthen through the tailbone, and then release the weight of the legs down. Let the feet widen out to either side of the room. And as we often do, use the senses to survey the landscape in which you are a part of in this moment. So what sounds surround you? Whether they are originating from a place nearby or far off. So through sound, becoming aware of the expanse of the world in which you are placed, in which you are lying. So listening for sounds above you, below you, surrounding you in all directions. Then you might notice the immediate sensations of the skin, sensing temperature, you might feel the different surfaces on which you're lying, places that feel harder, softer, more textural. Consider the quality of light on the eyelids. And begin to turn the perception, the awareness to the body itself, to the experience of inhabiting your body. So are there any areas that are immediately calling for attention? Any acute sensation? And if the answer to that question is yes, where is that sensation? Are there words that surface to describe that sensation? And acknowledge how the body feels at this moment, and consider how the information that you're gathering now may inform how you move throughout the practice today. Turn your attention to your breath. Direct breath in and out through the nostrils, and gradually begin to breathe more deeply. So I've been using this analogy of the breath swelling and waning like the incoming tide. So consider the tide coming in with each inhale, the lungs swelling. And then as the breath recedes back into the ocean of breath, pressing a little bit more air out of the bottom of the lungs. So slowly expanding the capacity of the lungs. You might experiment with what it feels like to use the Ujjayi Pranayama breath technique in this reclined shape. So to do so, draw a gentle contraction in at the back of your throat. And let the sound of your breath act as yet another dimension to the landscape of this moment. more breaths. Follow or ride the swell of each inhalation and the ebb of each exhalation. Once you've completed your 3 rounds of breath, begin to reanimate your fingers and toes. You might make circles with the wrists and with the ankles in one direction and then the other direction. Bend your knees, place your feet on the floor, roll to one side and push your way up to seated. We're going to come all the way up to standing. I don't know about the climate that you're experiencing right now, but here it's a little chilly. So let's start to build some warmth before we later get back on the floor. So let's find our position of Tadasana, the mountain pose. Look down at your feet, lift and spread your toes, place them back down. Create that conscious and strong connection between your body and the earth as you root down through the legs. Feel the strength of your legs supporting you as you grow tall along the spine. Roll the shoulders back, broaden the collarbones, open the palms forward, extend down through the fingertips as you extend up through the crown of the head. Soften the expression of your face as you arrive in this pose, in this moment. And then as you inhale next, sweep your arms overhead, bring your palms to touch as you look up. And then as you exhale, gently bend your knees and bow forward, bringing your fingertips to a block or to the floor in front of you. And then as you inhale, fingertips to the shins, shoulder blades on the back. Exhale, fold forward, head low, hips high, push down through the feet. Inhale, rise up, sweep the arms overhead, palms touch at the top. And then exhale, hands back through the heart center and arms back to the mountain shape. Inhale, sweep up, some half Surya Namaskar A's. Exhale, flow forward, synchronizing breath and movement. Inhale, come up halfway. And exhale, fold deeply forward, head low, hips high. Inhale to rise. And exhale, hands together in front of the heart. One more time. Inhale, sweep the arms overhead, the range of motion slowly growing, the tide coming in. Exhale as you flow forward. Maybe the breath deepens, so the transitions between the shapes grow longer. Exhale, fold forward as you become aware of the back body. Inhale, rise to stand, reach up, palms touch. And then exhale, hands together in front of your heart. So one more time, let's sweep the arms overhead. Let's leave the left arm reaching towards the sky and bring the right hand to the right hip. Tone the legs, push down through the feet, lift up out of the waistline, inhale, and then exhale, upper body leans to the right as the hips shift to the left. So just starting out with this easeful, supported lateral bend, lateral extension from the left hip down to the left heel, from the left waistline out through the left fingertips. So draw the right shoulder just slightly forward and turn your gaze up beyond the left tricep muscles. Notice tension or expression in the face. Try to neutralize the face as your gaze turns in, recognizing the left side of the body, awareness along the ribs, the shoulder, the outer hip. And then inhale, come back to center. Left hand comes to the hip, right arm reaches, lift up out of the right side. Ground through the right heel, grow tall. And then exhale, upper body leans to the left, hips shift to the right, legs tone, kneecaps lift. Soften the face, left shoulder slightly forward, then gaze up beyond to the right tricep muscles. Awareness along the right side, curiosity with breath. And then as you inhale next, come back through center. Okay, we're going to interlace the fingers behind the back of the skull. I'm going to turn to the side so you can see this better. So again, legs are strong. Widen your elbows out to either side of the room, supporting the head in the hands so the thumbs are cupping the base of the skull. Turn your gaze up, and already you might be feeling this expansion, this extension, this stretch across the front of the chest and along the inner arms. So you might choose to stay here with curiosity, with breath. Or you might start to curl back into the unknown. Head back into the hands. Heart continues to lift up, contracting the upper back, shoulder blades together, lifting the heart, front side of the vertebra opening, keeping the feet pressing down, legs strong, holding that connection with the earth, rooting down. And then as you're ready, elbows forward, chest comes forward, head comes up last, arms to your sides. And then again, inhale to sweep your arms up, reach up as palms touch, look up. And then exhale, gently bend your knees as you bring your fingertips to the floor or to a blocker blocks in front of you. Let the head hang forward and then bend the knees one at a time. One knee forward, other leg extends, maybe shift the hips kind of exaggeratingly from side to side, letting the upper body hang forward. As we release through the low back, explore the back of each leg and the outer hip. And then if you'd like, lift the head, bend the knees, lift up onto the toes to sink the hips to the heels. If that felt good, you might do it again. And then from here, we're going to explore a deeper forward fold. Start with the knees bent and push the feet down. Push the feet down, extend the roots down. Become aware of your inner upper thighs. Can you start to identify the inner upper thighs and start to move them towards the back wall and then pull them apart from one another without allowing the knees to widen? So the knees stay directly over the ankles, hip width distance apart. As you push the hips higher, starting to lengthen along the backs of the legs, extend the crown of the head towards the floor. Slowly begin to walk the hands deeper towards the floor, bringing going off block, or starting to walk your hands back along the sides of your feet, depending on your range of motion here. So again, exploring and gradually deepening your range of motion. So moving into the pose gradually with breath, with awareness. Lift the shoulders away from the ears. Keep the sides of the neck long. You might experiment with rocking forward to the balls of the toes, or to the knuckles of the toes and back to the heels, and trying to find a balance there where you're rooting down through the four corners of each foot, the base of the big toe, the base of the little toe, each side of the heel. Deep forward fold. Opportunity to bring awareness to the back body. And then from here, fingertips come to the shins, lift halfway. And as you exhale, fold in once again. Inhale, rise to stand, push down with the feet, reach with the arms, lift the gaze up, and then exhale, hands down through the heart center and back to the mountain. Okay, we're gonna do that whole sequence again, but I'll give you some options to explore different depth. So you can either do all the poses as you've done them the first round, Or if you're curious, you might bring the base of the big toes to touch. This will narrow your base and make balance a little more challenging. Push down through the soles of the feet, tone the muscles of the legs, arms to your sides. This time sweep the arms overhead. Interlace the fingers, pointing the index fingers to the sky. Cross the thumbs, or have the right hand on your hip as you lengthen up through your left arm. Grow tall. And then as you exhale, lean the upper body to the right, hips shift to the left. So same crescenting action. Sometimes this is called a half moon pose as well. So draw the right shoulder forward slightly, take the gaze again up beyond the left tricep muscles. Maybe exploring a different depth than the previous iteration of this shape, or maybe just noticing how the shape of the arms creates different sensation. Less support in the low back, so if you have the arms overhead, make sure to tone the muscles of the legs. Janu Bandha, kneecaps draw in and up, lengthening the tailbone down as you create extension and awareness along the left side. Inhale, come back to center. Perhaps bring the left hand to the hip, or switch the interlace of your fingers, bringing the opposite thumb in front. Again, grow tall as you inhale, and exhale, lean the upper body to the left, shift the hips to the right, push down through the four corners of each foot, tone the muscles of the legs. You can use the left arm to gently pull the right arm, the right side body longer as you root from right waistline through the right foot, from the right waistline out through the right index finger. Gaze might turn up beyond the right tricep muscles towards the ceiling. Breath and awareness along the right side. Again, if there is pain in the low back, then bring the left hand back to the hip for support. Then you can push the hand down and get more lift out of the low back to alleviate that pain. And then inhale, let's come back through center. So again, we'll take the back bend, either with the hands supporting the back of the skull or taking the arms overhead. So although there's less support for the low back, so there's you got to emphasize this lifting up out of the waistline if the arms are overhead. You also may have access to a deeper back bend if that is your interest this morning. Ground through the feet, lift into the heart, either support the head in the hands or reach the arms overhead. As you tilt the head back, lift the gaze up, and choose the depth that you want to explore today. Maybe the arms go back, maybe the head goes back, maybe you begin to curl deeply back into the unknown. Push your feet down, lift your heart up, compressing the back sides of the vertebra, using the strength of the back body as the front body opens. Eventually, chest, arms and head come up last. Release the arms to your sides. You might roll the shoulders forward a few rounds. Again, exploring a range of motion. So back, down, forward, up, and then go in the opposite direction. Okay, with your next breath, sweep the arms overhead and then exhale to bow forward. Fingertips to blocks or to the floor. Again, walking out the forward fold, bending one knee, reaching the opposite hip up and out. Exploring the outer hips, the backs of the legs, releasing compression from the low back, letting the head hang forward. And again, you might lift up onto the toes, bend the knees forward, sink the hips down. One time, two times. And then this time we're again going to take a deeper look at the forward fold if you'd like. So you can either keep the hands on blocks in front of you or by the sides of your feet, or you can bend your knees enough to slide your hands underneath your heels. Pinky fingers touching side by side, thumbs wrapped to the outsides of the heels. Compress your abdomen into your thighs, and then push your feet down,
Lengthen the crown of your head towards the floor as you lift your hips up. So again, you might attempt to access communication with the inner upper thighs. So as the kneecaps pull up, attempt to widen the inner upper thighs back and apart, create a sense of broadening across the lower back of the pelvis. As the hips lift, as the crown reaches towards the floor, lift your shoulders up away from your ears, keeping the sides of the neck long. And wherever you found yourself, no matter what the external expression of the pose appeared, however it appears, delve into this experience. What and where are you feeling? And perhaps recall that if there was an acute sensation, a region of interest as you initially checked in with the body this morning, where is that? How does that feel in this shape? And then untuck the fingers, walk the fingers back out in front of you, fold forward. Inhale, fingertips to the shins, lift halfway, and exhale, fold in once again, hands to the floor. Inhale, sweep up, reach up, palms touch overhead, and then exhale, hands together and arms to your side. Let's do a half sun salutation again. Inhale, sweep up. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, rise halfway. Exhale, fold in deeply. Inhale, rise with breath, reach up, look up, palms touch. Exhale, hands through heart center and arms back to the mountain. Okay, we'll do a little balancing next. Step on your left foot, really broaden the sole of your left foot as you root down. Tone the muscles of your left leg, hands come to the hips, right heel reaches forward, pull the toes back as you bring the right leg to a hover, right foot to a hover, just over the earth. Okay, establish balance here. And this is a great place to check in, because if you are falling over, if you are challenged by this standing on one foot today more than you might expect, then you can always bring that heel just right down back to the floor. Or you might decide to practice near the support of a wall today. Just recognize that balance is elusive. Some days you have it, some days you don't. Now we're going to turn this shape into a tree pose. So turn your right knee out to the right, staying balanced on the left leg, and then reach down for the right ankle and place the foot either to the inside of the left calf or the inside of the left thigh. Once you have the placement of the foot, push the foot into the leg, leg into the foot, extend through the right inner thigh, lengthen down through the tailbone, try to lift up out of the pelvis, grow tall along the spine. Hands might meet at the heart center to begin. So as you continue to send those roots down, strengthen the roots, strengthen your stability. You might eventually choose to take your arms up like the growing branches of your tree, getting taller, becoming more expansive, supple, and strong. So I feel like this tree pose is a great, the tree is a great metaphor for this balancing shape. So we want to have that strength, and but you don't want to be too rigid in your strength, because if you're too rigid in your strength, you won't be able to stand up. You'll just fall over like a big rigid tree. So give some suppleness to your tree. Let your branches flow a little bit side to side as though you're experiencing some rough weather. A breeze is blowing through. Perhaps you test your balancing ability by taking the gaze forward or even up, or even perhaps closing your eyes. Tree at night.
Okay, arms down to your sides, and we'll do the second side. So you might shake out your left leg before starting in on the right foot, ground through the foot, bring the heel to a hover. Hands can can be supported on the hips, so you can have that semblance of pushing down from the hips down through the right foot as you lift up out of the waistline, roll the shoulders back, find a steady gaze. And then recognize the intelligence of your body. So I think balancing poses are one place where you also have to just let go a little bit. As much as we have the ability to direct our bodies and move into these shapes consciously, a lot of the balance is just done through the body's intelligence. So can you watch without and back off a little bit? Can you just let the body do its thing, moving forward and back in with slight adjustments? Oh, there's some wind blowing now. Looks like it's time for our tree. Turn the left knee, left toes out. Place the foot to the inside of the ankle or calf using the left hand to guide the foot. Then once the foot is placed, even pressure to the middle line. Leg into foot, foot into leg, hands to heart center. Consciously send down that root system. Send it down deep, send it down wide. And then eventually you might grow your branches. And then play with your tree. Become your tree. Perhaps some wind blows. Perhaps the sun goes down. You close your eyes. Perhaps you fall over and then you replant. I learned on a children's show that if a tree falls over, you could conceivably prop it back up and help it, reroot into the earth. Okay, hands come back down as you're ready. Plant the left foot back down. Okay, so next we'll do two camel poses, two eagle poses, one for each leg. We're gonna start standing on the left foot, and then right toes to the floor. Sweep the arms overhead. I think this is right. I haven't done this in a while. Let's go left arm underneath the right. Get those arms going. Sink your hips back into an imaginary chair. Lift the elbows up, either palms touch or grab shoulders. And then lift the right leg up over the left leg, either pointing the toes back, bringing the right toes to the floor like a kickstand, or wrapping the right foot behind the left calf. Sink the hips down. Is it just me, or have we not done this in a while together? I feel like I had a streak of teaching this pose like every single class, and now it's been a while. So welcome back. Welcome back to the eagle. Get acquainted. Notice what adjustments you might make here. Perhaps in time you sink the hips a little deeper back into your imaginary chair or stool. Wrap the arms and legs tightly, lift the elbows up, forearms away from the face, upper body back. Find a place to focus your gaze, soften the eyes for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Unwrap the legs, right foot to the floor, sweep the arms overhead, reach up, exhale, right arm underneath the left. Bring palms together or grab shoulders, hips sink into the stool. Ground the right foot, lift the left leg. Point the toes either straight back, bring them to the floor like a kickstand, or attempt to wrap the left foot behind the right ankle. Sink the hips down. Today, elbows lift, forearms away from the face. Establish your gaze. Get acquainted with the eagle. And if you agree with me, this is something that we haven't practiced together. Perhaps you haven't been, if you're like me, this just hasn't been a pose you've been visiting lately. So notice if you can remember how this has felt in the past, and how it feels now, and how dynamic our practices can be. Keep breathing for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Unwind. Sweep the arms overhead. And we're going to do it again. Oh my gosh. Exhale, left arm underneath the right, palms together. Sink the hips down. Wrap the right leg over the left. Point the toes. Bring the foot to the floor or wrap the foot. Elbows lift, forearms away from the face. Ground down through the left foot. Sit, bend the knees straight forward as the hips go back. Upper body back. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Unwind. Sweep the arms overhead. Once again, right arm underneath the left. Palms together, forearms lift, or hands come to shoulders. Hips sink down. Right foot grounds, left leg lifts. Point the toes or wrap the foot, or bring the foot to a kickstand position. Okay, move into your eagle. Gradually, elbows lift, forearms away from the face. Sink the hips back and down for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Unwind. Sweep the arms overhead and exhale. Hands through heart center, arms to your sides. Phew, I didn't know that it would happen, but I actually feel a lot warmer now. Let's keep the warmth going and do some sea salutations. So come to the top of your mat. If you have not done this with me before, then you might watch the first round. If you're familiar with this sequence, then just come along and join me right off the bat. Okay, so this is a salutation. This is a vinyasa sequence that does not require down dog. So start at the top of your mat, and again, you can choose to take your feet together or keep your feet hip width distance apart, and that's just going to be a matter of balance. So if the feet are together, balance is going to be a little bit more tricky, and balance is already a little tricky on this sequence. Okay, so stand at the top of your mat, start at the mountain, come to Tadasana, and then inhale to sweep your arms overhead. Exhale as you flow forward, head low, hips high. Inhale, lift halfway, fingertips to the shins. And then exhale, walk your fingertips back behind your heels, touch down if you can, or you can use blocks there perhaps, and then sink your hips down into an imaginary chair. Reach your arms forward as you inhale, half awkward chair. And then as you exhale, lower your hips down, sweep your legs overhead, and then inhale, roll forward, balance back on the feet into the half chair again. Exhale, fold forward, head low, hips high, and then inhale, push with the feet to rise, arms overhead. Exhale, hands through heart center, back to the mountain, number 2. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, flow forward. Inhale, lift halfway. And exhale, sit in your chair. Inhale, arms forward, waistline back. Exhale, sink the hips, sweep the legs overhead. Inhale, momentum coming forward, balance on the feet. Exhale, fold in, head low, hips high. Inhale, rise to stand, push with the feet, reach with the arms, look up. Exhale, hands down through heart center, arms to your sides. Once again, inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, flow forward with the breath. Inhale, lift halfway. And exhale, sink your hips down into that imaginary chair. Inhale, arms forward, waistline back. Exhale, sink the hips, sweep the legs overhead. Inhale, coming back forward with momentum, half chair. Exhale, flow forward, head low, hips high. Inhale, rise to stand, reach up as the palms touch. And exhale, full flow the arms down to your sides, Tadasana. Let's do one more. Inhale, sweep up. And exhale, flow forward. Inhale, rise halfway. Exhale, take your seat. Inhale, arms forward. And exhale, roll back. Inhale, come forward, balance in the half chair. Exhale, flow forward. Inhale to rise. And exhale back to the mountain. Arms at your sides, shoulders back, palms forward. Back to the breath. And let the practice so far reverberate in this moment. Consider how your efforts, your movements have influenced the breath. Check back in with that acute sensation from the initial check-in. Open your eyes and hopefully you have a wall. I mean, if you don't have a wall, that's probably because you're outside. And that's cool too. But we're gonna do some wall sits. So you might be not so grateful that you have a wall, but great strength for the legs, a wall sit. So we're going to take our bottoms, take our hips to a wall, and then sink down into a seated position. So situate your knees hip width distance apart, your heels below the knees, feet are parallel, back of the hips, back of the shoulders to the wall, draw your lower front ribs in and back, trying to get more of your vertebra against the wall. Okay, you can keep your hands on your thighs for support, or you could take your arms out in front. Sink the hips lower if they're not quite to the height of your knees. Push the heels down. Hold. Soften the face. Relax the edges of the mouth. Follow your breath. Meet the challenge of this moment. And slide your way back up the wall, arms to your sides, and then walk your heels towards the wall. Feet parallel, back to the mountain, roll your shoulders back, palms forward. Breath here. So let the strength, let the effort of that pose be experienced in this moment. Where and what are you feeling? What's the experience of your legs like right now? And let's do it again. We're doing a lot of sets of twos today, are we not? So makes sense that we're doing this again, right? Walk your feet slowly out in front of you. Toes are pointing straight ahead. Knees are pointing the direction of your toes. Sink your hips down. Hands supporting on the thighs. Shoulder blades flatten against the wall. Weight shift back to the heels. Likely the weight is shifting forward and the feet bring it back to the heels. Hands can stay on the thighs or arms out in front. Palms can turn towards one another or palms down towards the earth. Find breath. Find strength and resolve. We're all doing this together, right? Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Push your way back up the wall. Walk your heels back towards the wall. Tadasana against the wall. Shoulder blades on the back, shoulder blades down the back, palms face forward, crown of the head lifts. Come back to your breath. So what new information might you have in this current mountain pose? Be curious about what it's like to have your back against the wall in this shape. And since we're against the wall and strengthening our thighs, let's do a little thigh stretch here. So you might either have some padding at the base of the wall, either in the form of your mat or in the form of a blanket or both. We will briefly come to a tabletop position. And then from here, we're going to take the left knee back towards the wall. So right knee is in a tabletop-like position with the right toes tucked under, and then the left knee is inching back towards the baseboard of the wall. Now, lift your right knee and place your foot where your knee was. So the right foot comes to where the right knee was. And this might be interesting. So if you did not elect for padding underneath the left knee, you might find that now. You might find that you want it. Okay, so this is a good initial stretch with the hands on the floor on either side of the right foot, or hands on blocks there. Do you feel a quad stretch? If not, you might start to push the hips back towards the wall. And make sure the left heel is just to the outside of the hip, as it would be for a hero pose. So you don't want the foot way out to the side, but you want the hip to be coming right to the inside of the left heel. So next step might be to bring the hands to the front thigh and prop up the chest, extending down through the left knee, lengthening the tailbone down, wrapping the right outer hip down as you lift up out of the waistline. So again, think about moving into these shapes with awareness, gradually seeking your desired depth. And then as you're ready, come back forward if you've propped yourself up. Bend the right knee back to the floor, bring the left knee forward. Knees are back to the tabletop position, hip width distance apart, and then send the right knee back to the baseboard of the wall. Right toes point straight up towards the ceiling, and then the left foot comes onto the floor. Left knee, left toes pointing straight ahead. And this might be the place where you are meeting a lot of sensation, delving deep into the experience of the right thigh, likely. Or this might feel like not interesting at all. Might be too cold for you, might be too shallow. If so, you might start to bring the hands to the left thigh, lengthen down through the right knee, lengthen down through the tailbone, wrap the left outer hip downward as you lift the chest up, prop the chest up. And if necessary, the hips can move further back towards the wall, left and right. Shoulders can move back towards the wall, left and right. Lower ribs can tone in, so the sides of the waistline move back towards the wall. So as much or as little of that information as you need, or that instruction. And we're gonna fold back, forward, hands frame the front foot, bring the left knee back to the floor, and then get on out of there. Move your mat away from the wall once again. And we're gonna go up into our inversion now. So that might either be continuing the practice of Pincha Mayurasana as we've been doing the past several weeks, or peacock feather pose, forearm balance. So if you are doing that along with me, you might bring the short end of your mat to a wall space. Choose your wall space, make sure there's nothing that you're going to kick into and break. And if you're just starting out in this, bring the mat all the way to the wall. And then we're going to take a block to the top of the mat, if you have one. Take the hands to frame the block. So the skin between your index finger and thumb is wrapping around the bottom corners of the block. So if you have the video and you can see me, look what I'm doing here. It's often hard to see because my skin really blends into the color of this wood. So hands frame the block, and then forearms are parallel. Wrists and elbows are shoulder width distance apart. We're coming down into a forearm table pose. Okay, first thing we're gonna do is let the shoulders slump together behind the heart, and you can achieve this with the idea of releasing the weight of your heart down, melting or sinking the heart so the shoulder blades come together. Next thing we're going to do is actively draw the shoulders away from the ears so the sides of the neck lengthen. And then we're going to draw the lower front ribs in and back, again to tone the upper abdomen and lengthen through the middle spine. Keep the head lifted and then come up into a forearm dog pose. Oh, it is kind of a dog. It's not the traditional dog though. Let's go ahead and call it dolphin pose so I can keep my give your dog a rest title. Okay, so come up into dolphin pose. A gaze between the forearms, and then slowly start to walk the feet forward. The hips might lift gradually higher into the air. Okay, without letting the shoulders collapse forward of the elbows, take your right foot towards center and lift your left leg up into a three-legged dolphin pose. Bend the right knee and kick with the left leg. So you start to make little hops. Maybe over time and with practice and attention, those little hops might start to get bigger. You might seek the wall with your heels. You might seek balance away from the wall by pushing down with the forearms, lengthening up through the tailbone, hugging the shoulder blades together behind the heart. Okay, so 2, 3, 4, 5 times with the hops, with the with the left leg lifted. Now we're going to take the right leg up, hop with the left leg, kick with the right leg. Keep the gaze between the forearms, shoulders stable. Little kicks get bigger, building strength and courage. And sometimes the courage means your courage is not doing the thing that you usually think you should do, right? Okay. Come on down. Knees together, sink your hips back to the heels, arms forward. Head down, arms heavy. Arrive with the breath.
Notice what and where you're feeling the resonant energy of that challenging shape of the practice so far. Sweep the arms back, palms turn up, heads of the arm bones round forward, upper back broadens. Okay, round up along your spine, and we'll continue with our practice of camel and rabbit. Then we'll do kind of a long leg sequence for the last, third of the practice. So come up onto your knees, preparing for camel pose, perhaps with padding beneath the knees. Hands in the back pockets of your yoga pants. Point the toes back. You might have blocks back there for support. You might tuck your toes under to lift your heels higher when the time comes. Lengthen down through the tailbone, lift through the heart, broaden the collarbones, tilt the gaze up, preparing for a back bend. Again, the hips to the knees, to the feet, ground, creates stability and strength. The chest lifting and opening, the upper back strong as we curl back. Gaze goes back, collarbones stay broad, shoulder blades hug in. Either keep the head suspended or release the head back as you curl deeper. Keep the hands in your back pockets, pressing the flesh of your upper buttocks downward, lengthening the tailbone, or bring your hands to blocks or heels. Fingers to the inside of the heels, thumbs to the outside of the heels. If you have the fingers at the inside of the heels, as you push your hips forward, widen your fingertips into your inner heels. Resist with your inner heels. Widen your inner elbows out to either side of the room. Lift your shoulder blades to the back of your heart. Lift your heart to the sky. Open up your front body. Keep breathing. And eventually, hands to hips, hips forward, chest forward, shoulders forward. Head comes up last, knees together, inner feet together. Take a seat back on your heels into rock pose. Palms on the thighs, neutralize the spine. And again, knees apart, hip width distance, point the toes or tuck the toes. Hands to the back pockets, tailbone lengthens down, lift along the front of the pelvis, shoulders on the back, elbows back, heart lifts, collarbones broad, into the unknown, gaze back, curl back. Hands can stay on the support of the low back, or you can reach for heels or blocks. Fingertips in, elbows out, heart lifts, head suspended, or release the head back. If the head is released back, you might reach through the chin, open the throat. As you're ready, hands come back, hips forward, chest forward, shoulders forward, head comes up last, knees together, inner feet together, hips to the heels, palms to the thighs. Practice patience. Come back to the breath.
Take anything on the off of the mat in front of you. Arms come to your sides, palms open forward, shoulders roll back. Inhale, sweep your arms overhead, cross your thumbs. Exhale and hinge at the hips. Fold forward, head and hands touch down at relatively the same time. Inhale, come back up, drawing up and back through the sides of the waistline, grow tall. Exhale and flow forward. Inhale, come back up once again. And then with your exhale, flow forward. Head down, arms reach back, grabbing for the outer feet, wrapping the fingers to the insides of the heels. Tuck your chin to your chest, pull your forehead towards or to your knees. Top of the head touches lightly down, and then push your feet into the floor. Lift your hips up for rabbit pose, rounding the spine strongly. Chin to chest, forehead towards or to the knees. Hips lifting, contracting the front side of the vertebra to open up the back side of the vertebra. Inhale, explore and create space. Exhale, contract the front body. Lower your hips back to your heels, push down with your hands, come back up to the neutral rock pose, head over heart, heart over the center of the pelvis, shoulder blades down the back, collarbones broad. Arrive in this moment with patience, with curiosity and reflection. Arms to your sides, palms forward. Inhale, arms up, cross your thumbs. Exhale, hinge at the hips, fold forward, hips stay low, head and hands touch down. Inhale, draw back through the sides of the waistline. Grow tall at the top. Exhale, flow forward, bow. Last time, inhale to come up. And exhale, fold forward, head down, sweep the arms back, grab the outer heels, wrap the fingers to the inner heels, thumbs stay on the outside of the feet, tuck your chin to your chest, forehead towards or to the knees, top of the head touches down, push down with the shins, push down with the knees and feet, lift the hips up. Draw the belly button into the spine with each exhalation, kick the hips into the air, pulling the arms taut, drawing the shoulder blades apart. Opening up the space behind the shoulder blades along the back of the spine, creating more space, widening your range of motion. Then hips down, press with the hands, lift back up, neutralize the spine. One more time, rock pose. Okay, sweep the legs forward. We are going to be on the ground, be on the mat the rest of the practice. So you might like to transition into a warmer attire. And find a strap or strap substitute, whether that be a yoga strap or a hand towel or a necktie. Make it happen. Take your time. We'll be hanging out for a bit. Okay. Lengthen along the back of your neck. Find your way into your reclined seated position. Extend through the heels, lengthen through the tailbone. And then let's start with the left knee drawing into the chest. Take the strap around the left foot, extend the left foot straight. Push up through the heel, pull back through the toes as you lengthen along the back of the left leg. Strengthen, tone the front of the left leg. Again, that idea of Janu Bandha, engaging the quad muscles to draw the kneecap in towards the back of the leg and up the leg. Have enough slack on your strap so that the head and shoulders rest comfortably down at this time. Arrive in this shape. Keep awareness with the right leg as well. So there's extension through both feet and the right leg is grounding consciously. So put pressure between the back of the leg and the mat. You might even consider wrapping the inner right thigh towards the floor, making sure the toes point straight to the sky. Again, with breath, with awareness and time, might be diving slowly deeper into a range of motion. So the hands might walk closer to the left foot. The hands might even grasp the inside and outside of the foot. Guide the, let's do this today. So bend the right foot back, bend the right knee, bring the foot back to the floor, and then draw the left knee down towards the left armpit. So we're coming to a half happy baby pose. You can use the strap to pull the foot down. If you have access, you can wrap the hands around the sole of the left foot, interlacing the fingers around the foot, or keeping the strap to connect with the left foot. Push the foot into the hands and pull the knee down. So by pushing and pulling, pushing, pulling. So it's, I'm sure there's a better metaphor for this, but I think of two sumo wrestlers. Your hands are one sumo wrestler, the foot's the other, and you're just trying to push each other out of the ring. There's opposing forces. And then you can keep the right foot on the floor or experiment with extending the right leg straight, pushing out through the right foot, and then trying to ground the back of the right leg again. First, maybe the heel comes down, then maybe the calf. And then again, that sense of the right inner thigh wrapping towards the floor as you continue the opposing forces battle between the left foot and the hands. And it doesn't have to be the most the most voracious matchup. So the pressure between the hand and foot can be can range on can be anywhere on a range of intensity. So the leg could be shaking a little bit with your intention to push the foot into the hands, or it might be more relaxed than that. Okay, let's take the strap again and extend the left leg straight up towards the ceiling. Widen the left outer hip away from the left armpit. And then take the arms up the back of the left leg and begin to walk your hands up towards your heel as you curl your head, neck, and shoulders up away from the floor. Draw your belly button in towards your spine. Keep extending through the right leg, although it may have lifted off of the floor. Curl in and engage the abdomen for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower down, head down. Release the left leg back to the earth. You might notice the left leg being a little bit longer than the right leg. We can't have that, so we have to do that second side. Keep the left leg grounded, draw the right knee in towards your chest, take the strap around the base of your right foot, extend the right leg straight. So again, this idea of moving slowly down into the depth of your expression. So start with just extension of the right leg, pushing through the sole of the foot, again remembering those 4 corners of the foot, and you might emphasize each corner by pushing through the base of the big toe, more exaggeratingly, pushing through the outside of the foot, the inside of the heel, the outside of the heel.
extending the back of the leg as you contract the front of the leg. So the kneecap again draws in and up with the engagement of the quad muscles. Okay. So right leg extends, left leg extends. Push through the left foot. You might even try practicing this sequence with the left foot against a wall. That's interesting. Push the heel down, calf down, thigh down, and then draw the right leg in gradually, walking the hands closer to the foot. If it's appropriate, keeping the head and shoulders down. Going to transition to the half happy baby. Bring the left foot to the floor, draw the right knee down under the right armpit. Either keep the strap, or if you have the availability, wrap the hands around the sole of the right foot, interlacing the fingers, and begin that opposing of forces. Hands pulling the knee down, foot pressing into the hands. And then either choose to stay here or attempt to extend the left leg along the mat. Push through the foot and then ground, possibly the heel, possibly the calf, possibly spiraling the inner thigh downward. Okay, next, keep the strap, extend the right leg straight up once again, widen the right outer hip away, ground the left leg, wrap the arms behind the right leg, curling the head, neck, and shoulders up away from the floor, walking the hands up towards the heel, rounding the upper back, chin to chest, forehead towards the knee, extend through the left leg, it might have lifted up, draw in through the belly button for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lower the head, neck, and shoulders down. Lower the right leg down. Extend through both legs. Take the arms towards the ceiling, palms face one another. Exhale, curl the head, neck, and shoulders up. Point the fingertips towards the toes. Take the gaze towards the toes. And then squeeze the legs, lift the heels about a foot away from the floor. For half boat pose, Navasana. Shoulders away from the ears, lengthen through the heels, pull back through the toes, squeeze the legs. If you'd like, breath of fire, sharp exhalations as you pull the belly button into the spine, out through the nose, like so. For 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Heels down, arms down. Rest and relax. And believe it or not, we're going to do that once again. Arms to the sky, legs together. Point the fingertips to the sky. Exhale, curl the head, neck, and shoulders up. Fingertips and gaze towards the left toes, squeeze the legs in, push through the feet, lift the heels up about 1 foot from the floor. Hold, possibly breathing with the breath of fire. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Oh. I don't know about you guys. I'm gonna be feeling this tomorrow. Rest. Breathe.
Okay, pull your heels in towards your hips. Widen the left leg out to the left as though you're bending the left knee for a just a seated position, a cross-legged seat. And then take the right ankle to the outside of the left thigh onto the floor. So it's kind of like a figure four shape fallen over to the side. So if this doesn't work for you, you could just take the figure four as an alternative, or the threading the needle pose, we also call it. If you would like, you can reach down with the left hand and grab the right ankle. You can even pull the left heel in towards the left hip and reach down with the right hand and grab the left foot, if that's interesting. Breathe here. Consider widening the knee away from the face. Consider widening the hip away from the face and the right hip back towards the earth. Subtly. And release the feet if you have them. Lift back onto the left foot so you do transition into the figure four shape. Then draw the left thigh in towards the chest, either interlacing the fingers behind the thigh or in front of the shin. Right foot is flexed, right ankle is straight. Either choose to stay here, or if you have the accessibility, wrap the left elbow around the right foot and the right elbow around the right knee. Curl the head, neck, and shoulders up. Extend the left leg straight. So coming to this pigeon-like pose on your back, cradling the right shin. Maybe change this shape again by hooking the left elbow underneath the right ankle, taking the right arm by the right ear, and then bending the elbow and clasping the hand or grabbing the right foot with the right hand. Or you could try to put your leg behind your head, and don't get attached to the outcome of this. Just thinking how funny it is that we would value this ability to put one's leg behind one's head. It's not a very useful skill, but it's fun. It could be fun. It could be interesting, right? Or maybe not. Okay, release. Left foot to the floor, unwind, and let's do that on the second side. So right knee bends out to the right as though you're sitting in a cross-legged seat with the right leg. Left foot comes across the top of the right thigh. Possibly reach down for the ankle with the right hand. Possibly widen the knee, widen the hip, away from the face subtly. Possibly try to grab the right foot with the left hand. Maybe not. Or you could switch this already into the figure four shape, or the thread the needle shape. Okay, everyone, transition to the thread the needle shape, hugging the right thigh in towards the chest, interlacing the fingers, or wrapping the right elbow around the flexed left foot, left elbow around the left knee, clasping hands perhaps as you extend the right leg straight, keep the left foot flexed, ankle straight. Push through the right foot, wrap the right inner thigh down, curl the head, neck, and shoulders up away from the floor. Choose to stay here, or hook the right elbow underneath the left ankle, left arm along the left ear, bend the left elbow, clasp the hands or grab the foot. Release the head back into the elbow. And as you're ready, release. Get on out of there, arms widen out to the sides of the room. And let's windshield wiper the legs a couple of times. Feet as wide as the mat. Bending the knees or folding the knees side to side, possibly synchronizing breath and movement. As you soften the abdomen, release the head, the shoulders, the arms. Back to center, draw the knees in and up towards the armpits, hug them in, and then transition to full on happy baby. Both hands, clasp both feet, rock side to side. And then soles of the feet together, interlace the fingers, widen the knees out, extend through the inner thighs, flatten the low back, bound angle, reclined bound angle. And then finally, let's draw it in. Come on in for a hug, thighs together, wrap your arms around the fronts of your legs, grabbing wrists, forearms, or elbows, hug it in. Like you are so sweet, like you love yourself so much that you want to just show your affection in this movement. Hugging in, squeezing the legs, chin to chest, forehead towards the knees, tailbone towards the heels. Get tight. And then if you love something, let it go. Take your arms out to your sides, extend through the legs, setting up for your version of Savasana. So whether that be lying on your back, taking your legs up the wall, finding a goddess shape, taking a child's pose, folded over a bolster, your choice. But invite yourself into this shape. And you might do that by getting some special props, maybe a favorite pair of socks or a sweater. I have gotten accustomed to using my eye pillow at this time, so whatever it might be for you, make it happen. And take the time to extend out through the legs, lengthen through the tailbone, down through the arms, along the back of the head, along the back of the neck. And then set down the legs, set down the arms, the pelvis, the chest, the abdomen, the skull, the brain. Imagine this time as kind of a dissolving or a softening of the edges of the physical being, the whole being. as you're ready, begin to reanimate fingers and toes. Start to move the body how you'd like, in a way that feels good. Maybe arms rock from side to side, maybe stretch the arms overhead. Eventually bend your knees, feet to the floor, right arm along the right ear, and roll to your right side today. Transitioning from our corpse pose into this fetal position. Eventually push your way up to a comfortable seated position. Not as we begin class, as we have not done in the whole practice so far. I've only done the rock pose. So get acquainted with this shape. And again, take a survey of the world around you and the world within you. What was the data that you collected at the beginning of class? And perhaps compare it to what you are feeling now after the practice. Bring your hands onto your heart. Please join me in the sound of Om to close this morning's practice. Exhale and inhale for Om. Thank you for your presence, your patience, and your devotion to your yoga practice. The light in me recognizes and bows to the light in each of you. Namaste. Thank you guys for being here, and thank you to those of you who were able to make the Zoom meeting this morning. Please be in touch with me either via the athenspublic@gmail email address, athenspublic@gmail, or you can feel free to text me or call me if you have my number. I'm going to switch this off, the podcast, and that'll come up there. Please get in touch if you have any comments, questions, requests for future practices. I'm just gonna keep going, plugging along with this Monday stream unless something comes up. So I'll be here next week, and I would love for you to join me again. Okay. Mwah.